Today we're going to be looking at this, Stufz, America's Stuffed Burger. It's a stuffed burger maker. So I bought this in a charity shop for £2, and it's an interesting thing. It just caught my eye. It was really the packaging that caught my eye. Let's just have a look around the packaging. So Stufz, America's Stuffed Burger, missing apostrophe, makes stuffed burgers like a pro. I didn't even know that was a profession, but it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Shape it, stuff it, seal it. Patent pending. Includes bullet point list of one item. 1 Stufz burger maker. Again, same stuff on here. Easy as 1, 2, 3. And some suggestions here. Bacon, cheese and jalapeno. Mac and cheese. Mushroom and Swiss. As seen on TV. Celebrity chef Brian Duffy. I'm not familiar with this guy. I presume he's popular in television that isn't broadcast in my area. Although I don't always check all of those channels on the satellite. So maybe I've just missed him. Brian Duffy. Not a very flattering photo of Brian Duffy there. It looks like that photo makes it look like when he smiles there's a noise, like a sort of noise. Anyway, what else? On the bottom here, distributed by Idea Village, Wayne, New Jersey, made in China. Under license from Zoom TV Products. Okay, well, let's open it up and see what we've actually got. Wait a minute. Includes, and there's only one item on this. It really doesn't need to be a bullet point list or say includes if it only has one item. But there are 2 items in the box. There's the burger maker and important to read before first use. Instructions, helpful hints before using your stuffed burger system. Now, a lot of these things seem to be, it might well be that this leaflet is a bit of an afterthought because a lot of the stuff on here seems to be correcting problems. You know, formed meat should not be above rem on base, and meat should be cold and not left out prior to use. And we have found that, you know, all of these are corrections. It seems like perhaps this product was released without those instructions, and then lots of people complained, perhaps. Anyway, there's the thing, made entirely of what appears to be polypropylene. And, well, let's read the instructions. So, turn handle to release. Oh, okay. Right. So, if we have a look, there is a plunger, but it's a kind of double action plunger. So it's got this release catch thing here. So that bit is just the middle bit. That bit is just the middle bit going down. Let's have a look at that from the inside. So there's this bit that goes down first. That makes your hole in the burger. So that pushes the meat down and extrudes it up the sides. And then you lock it into that position and put some more meat on. Press it down again. And the wider bit here then presses the top into place. So it's a burger press. But it's a burger press that has a kind of double action with this rather janky locking system here. Doesn't look like it's ever been used. This doesn't look like it's ever even been washed and put back in the box. I would say that's probably somebody's bought that for a gift for someone and it's sat in a cupboard for a while. I wonder when this was made. That packaging looks kind of 90s to me. Lot going on this packaging. Anyway, that is the Stufz, America's Stuffed Burger. Oh, they remembered the apostrophe here as well, you see, so maybe somebody wrote to them about that. But yeah, this leaflet here very much has the feel of something where people wrote in and said it didn't work because this, and so they have, I think, written this set of precautions which are intended to correct all of those customer issues, maybe. Or maybe this just came out of product testing after they printed and sent it to their focus group or whatever. Anyway, guess what we're going to do today? We're going to try to make some stuffed burgers. The first thing I'm going to do in testing out this burger press is one of the things that's suggested on the box, which is macaroni and cheese. But first I need to make some burger patty mix. Interestingly, there are no directions about that on the box, so I'm just going to do what seems right to me. So I've got 500 grams of 12% fat beef mince. Only 12% fat, so it's probably going to need a little bit of help with binding and moisture. So we're going to have about 20 grams of cracker crumbs. That's just some crackers I've bashed up. A little pinch of my Spanish thyme, about half a teaspoonful of garlic powder, about half a teaspoonful of black pepper, and about half a teaspoonful of salt, and 1 egg. I could use the dough hooks on my mixer for this, but I think I'm just going to get my hands in there and squish that together and blend those things up and see what it looks like. I think you can just make the burger patties with 100% beef with no fillers and nothing else but seasoning. Yeah, I think it's just going to need so that's about 25 grams of cracker crumbs in total. The cracker crumbs, a bit like rusk in sausages, it's not so much to fill this out and make the beef go further as it is to retain the fat. So the absorbent cracker crumbs will hang on to the fat and make the burger a bit more moist. Right, I think that's about as mixed as it needs to be. I don't want to overdo that. So let's make our first burger. I'm not completely sure this thing's supposed to come to pieces. A few bits don't come to pieces, so that handle piece doesn't easily come out of there. I think you probably can pull that out of there, but I felt like that was going to stress the plastic. However, that bit does go in and out of there fairly easily. And then this has to fit inside of that top section as well. And it does have to engage with this slot here. So there is just a little bit of jiggery pokery in getting this all apart. And I'm not entirely sure that you're meant to do this, but I felt that that's the only way I could really get it clean enough. I'm now not sure I've put it back together properly. There's a little nub in there and one there, and that is supposed to engage with that thing maybe? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Yeah, so taking it apart to wash it is not that easy. Or, well, taking it apart is easier than putting it back together again. Anyway, let us proceed with making a burger. There's no directions on how much burger mix to put in there. Right, and it's the middle bit we want to go down first. So we press that down like that. And then unclip it. Well, we've kind of got a cavity thing there, but it doesn't feel like there's enough space to stuff it with anything. Maybe I didn't press it down far enough. I feel like I'm going to break the plastic if I press any harder than that. Okay. So let's see what we got now. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's not very even. I think it needs a bit more meat in there. Over that side. To push up into this gap here. Let's try that again. Okay, that looks about right. So now I need the filling. Now the thing that worries me a little bit about this is that this meat's raw. Of course, raw beef is safer than some other raw meats, but is the inside surface of this burger going to get properly cooked when it's in contact with the cold filling? I suppose time will tell. Macaroni cheese, this is leftovers. It's not actually macaroni, it's spirali, but it's close enough. Okay, that's my stuffing. I've got to be careful that I don't breach the edge. Then we need this is the bit where you kind of have to do things a bit hydraulically. We've got to make a ball of burger mix and spread it out across the top here. So it's not, this thing has not completely automated the process of making a stuffed burger. So that goes on there like that, I think. Maybe a little bit more there. Okay, I think that's right. And now we unlock the bayonet thing and the whole of the plunger goes down. So like, clip that shut and then press the whole thing down. Meat is coming out of the sides. Okay, well that's weird, but maybe that's right. There is my rather weird looking stuffed burger patty. Just tidy that up a little bit. I feel like that's going to come off, that top bit, but we'll see. I'm going to put that on a piece of parchment and just chill it down in the fridge just to firm up the meat a little bit. This thing is pretty much a nightmare for cleaning. All of the meat has got stuck in the little holes there, so I'm going to have to get a brush and scrub this, and there's lots of little crevices where meat can get stuck in the mechanism. In particular, this hinge pin doesn't come out, so this is a plastic hinge pin that's been pushed through and then melted and fused on the end here, so that bit doesn't come out. I don't think we could disassemble that joint, even if we wanted to. That, I'm not fond of that, because that's a moving part with a little crevice there that's quite close to where all the food is. So that seems like a bit of a hygiene point to me. All the other bits do come apart, apart from, again, this handle on top here with this post in the middle seems like a bit of an afterthought as well, to transfer force to the middle of the plunger. I wonder if that was added to the design afterwards, you know, after they found that if people press down too hard on this handle, it might snap. Cooking is going to take place in my Visions pyroceramic pan. I love this pan actually for searing meat. It's really good because you can get it really hot, but also on a radiant hob like this one, the radiant heat of the cooker goes through the transparent material and directly sears the meat a little bit. Plus also it's got a lid for containing any spattering, and this may actually also act as a cloche for cooking the burger. So we've got to get that hot first. So, in with the burger. Right, I toasted my burger bun and my patty has rested. I will have a few little crinkle cut slices of gherkin on there, token salad leaves, and that is my Stufz macaroni cheese stuffed burger. Now, I think we probably will go straight for the cross section before I try to take a bite, even though the cross section will probably make biting this difficult, because I want to just have a look inside. No, it does look okay inside actually. A little bit on the pink side there, but it does look like it's cooked. That does surprise me a little. Anyway, cheers. It's falling apart. So it's not falling apart where I cut it, it's falling apart where it was joined, where the flat bit went on the top. This could be the kind of burger that you need a knife and fork for. But this is the bit that slightly worries me. So we've got macaroni cheese here, which is not piping hot, and it's covered with pink juice from the beef. So as the juices have cooked out the beef, as it warms, they've just gone into the filling. And the filling is the part that hasn't got piping hot. So, I don't know. Yeah, you can see it just hasn't joined together at the edges. That could just be user error. But I did follow the instructions. As you can see, quite a lot of the things that were inside are now outside. I don't know. Do you know what I think would be nicer than this? Is just a burger in a bun and a bowl of macaroni cheese.
on the side. Now granted, I am eating around the camera here, so take that into consideration, but that was just messy. Even considering that it was cut in half for the cross section, it still was messy to eat. It just didn't stay together. And we're going to have another go though. It's time for the second time. It's not my burger mix. This burger mix this mince has a tendency to go a bit grey on exposure to air. Anyway, close that up, and we're just pushing down the middle bit, the pocket maker. Okay, I wonder if that worked. Kind of. Do you know what's a bit off centre? That's not brilliant. It's just, yeah, there's a bit of play here in this bit, and so that has formed an off-centre cavity. Maybe it straightens up when it goes all the way down. Let's see what we got now. Well, that looks no, I don't know. Needs a bit of patching up just there, I reckon. Okay, now we tried a thing they suggested. Now we're going to have a thing I suggest. A thin slice of black pudding. And I've also got some haggis here that I've cooked. And baked beans. We're British, aren't we? Now I'm not going to put in too much of the sauce. I'm going to mostly focus on the beans. And there is just a little bit of a rim around the edge there for accommodating the beans. And then my haggis, which did not stay together because it doesn't do that, on the top. I think we're still going to have the same problem with sealing around the edges, because pressing this stuff together isn't enough to seal it. So you could, if you want to attribute blame to my burger mix recipe, then sure, you could do that. I mean, this is supposed to be an easy to use product, so you know, the whole idea of these easy to use products is anybody can do it. So, you know, I'm anybody. So anyway, let's try that then. Clip it down, and now we lock it into the upper position, so we're pressing both halves, both parts of the plunger down, and press. And the meat's coming out the side, together with some of the sauce from the beans. And there is my burger stuffed with haggis and black pudding and beans. We'll give that a try, see if that makes more sense than the other one. I don't think it will. So this time we'll try a different pan. This is just a ceramic non-stick pan. And I'll give that a little bit of lard in there. And with this burger we'll try cooking it a little bit more gently, hopefully to get the heat all the way through. But yeah, even now I can see there's a kind of line around here where it may not have joined. I don't know if I should try and blend that, pinch that back together. And I'll cook, yeah, as I say, I'll cook this one more gently. Maybe it will stay together better. Okay, well here's the problem. When I fried it on the first side, this bit, which is the top disc that went on and got notionally sealed to the sides, this shrank a little bit and it's pulled away from the edges. So this has come unstuck all the way along here. I don't even think this is going to make it as far as the bun, this burger, so this one could be a disaster. I may end up just cooking this. I might even end up chopping this up in the pan, cooking it like kind of a hash. In fact, you could see it opening up as we speak. As the bottom bit shrinks as well, it's pulling away from the filling. Yep, absolute disaster. I literally haven't touched that and it's come away. The top has come away from the bottom all the way around. And here's the thing is, look, there's some of that juice in there is the sauce from the beans, and some of that is just the juice coming out of the meat, but it's the uncooked juice. So yeah, this is not going to go as far as the bun. In fact, what I'm going to do now, I think, is Right, so I just put a little bit of flour in there and fried it in the fat that was coming out of the meat, and a little bit of stock to make a kind of loose gravy. And I think that will do. So yeah, I'm just going to serve that on a bit of toast, which obviously is a bit of a failure. And I will leave it to you to decide whether it's me that failed or the product. And this tastes okay, because why wouldn't it? It's toast with seasoned beef, black pudding, haggis and beans on it. So I think we'll head back to the studio for some conclusions.
In conclusion, and first off, it might just be me, okay? Everything you've seen fail here might just be me. So let's just acknowledge that as a possibility to start with. But not all ideas are good ideas. This is an example of something that I just don't think is a good idea. It is an idea, but real innovation has to solve a problem that when people look at it in retrospect, they say, oh, how is it we didn't think of that before? And yet here I am in retrospect looking at this, and I don't get that from this product. I don't look at a burger that's full of whatever these things are, mushroom and Swiss, bacon, cheese and jalapeno, mac and cheese. I don't look at those and think, oh, wow, how is it I haven't had this before? It is solving a problem, I think, that nobody has. I don't think putting stuff inside a burger is better than having that same stuff over the top of a properly cooked burger, or on the plate alongside it, or in a bowl alongside just the burger in the bun. I don't think there's any context in which it's necessary to put things inside a burger, or that putting things inside a burger makes it better. It's a bad idea. It's bad in practice because this did not make me stuff burgers like a pro, whatever that means. I gave it my level best, but we couldn't get the burgers to seal with the fillings inside. I think more importantly, when you've got a filling inside a burger, as the juices cook out of the meat, they go into that filling, and so you end up with the least cooked bit of the burger being the raw juices soaked into the filling. Now, I love a rare steak, and I don't mind a pink or actually quite rare burger, but there's a difference. Rare steak is generally safe to eat because the pathogens that might make it unsafe to eat are generally on the outside of a cut of meat, and so when you sear a steak, as long as you've seared the outside, you've usually dealt with anything that might make you ill. Similarly, decent medium rare burgers, often what they will do is they will take the large cut of meat first, sear it all over the outside to kill off the bacteria and other foodborne pathogens that might be on the surface of the meat, and then grind it or mince it to make the burgers. So it's mostly raw, but with a seared outside. Sometimes they'll cut the seared outside off and discard it. But in any case, there is a difference between a properly made and properly prepared medium rare burger and one that is medium rare or raw in the middle by accident and is only made from just supermarket minced beef that has not been subject to all of those precautions to try to make it a little bit safer to eat in that state. Anyway, it's clear I just don't get this product. Not just for beef. Oh my gosh, can you imagine doing this with turkey or chicken, and the middle being the raw juices from the chicken cooked into your ham and Swiss in the middle of the burger? That's just not a good idea. So yeah, like I say, not every idea is a good idea. This is, in my opinion, not a good idea. It's also not a particularly well-made product. There's just a lot of play on the stuff, on all the parts here. The fact that you can't clean inside this hinge is not good. The fact that you have to kind of almost break it to take it apart for cleaning is not great. Anyway, there it is. I had fun playing with this. So yeah, time will tell whether I'm going to get desperately sick from eating a bit of rather undercooked beef in that first burger, or rather the juices of completely undercooked beef that pushed their way into my macaroni cheese filling. Chances are, if you're watching this video, it means I did survive. So anyway, what I'm going to do now is stuff this thing back in the box. Get it? Stufz. I'm going to take it back to the charity shop. I'm not going to ask for a refund, obviously. I'll just donate this back to the charity shop, and somebody else can have the joy of discovering that not every idea is a good idea. I hope that's been interesting. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.